Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, it is a great privilege and an honor to welcome this man here. This is Paul Sanasardo. Let's hear it for him, please. He is a Chicago native. Grew up on the south side in a bungalow similar to the one that I live in right now. I met him, by the way, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but he recently celebrated a birthday.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I said, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you recently celebrated a birthday.
Oh yeah, look, you can tell him that. I'm not happy about it, but you can tell him that.
Big 9-0, big 9-0, pretty big. So I met him in a modern dance workshop that was offered at the Ruth Pace Center, probably close to 15 years ago, I want to say. And there, I really, was fascinated by this guy. And we went to lunch afterwards, and there he told me a history of modern dance, of life, that I just thought was so fascinating and just really interesting, and it caught me off guard, and I knew that I had to bring this guy in. This book was actually about him. It was written by one of his dancers, Mark Franco is the guy's name, and he relates a lot of stories about Paul and about the 1950s and 60s in New York, where Paul did a lot of his work. But I hope you don't mind me reading this. It's a hardcover.
Don't tell me too much about my past.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. Okay, but this is what you talking as you said, at about 9 years old, I did what most dancers probably do. I would go into my basement and do what I guess we call improvisations. I would express myself. These were dances of death. I loved dying. I'd jump around the basement and there would be long periods of lying. Sometimes I would die heroically. That was partly why I called it in the grand manner. Of course, the beautiful holy silence at the other end of the basement was the best audience you could hope for. I created an audience that was really watching in a kind darkness. If it took me a whole hour to die, they were with me. I love that. Anyway, stories of New York in the 50s, his dance studio that he created along with a dance company in which he had the young Pina Bausch working with him, and so many other stories. He's here, he's going to tell you. And I also want to mention, this is David, this is his assistant's going to be showing you some of the movements. So let's hear it for David as well.
Now, the ones over there, come over and sit in front. Come closer.
Oh, come around here?
We're going to sit in front of each other.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I want you to all look that way. Yeah, don't go in that way.
Okay.
A little bit more. Yeah, that's it. But they can go.
It's like this.
Guys, 2 rows, front row and back row.
Just let one go. Why I'm talking about this.
Move it more? Okay.
All right, now you can try to look at me, but I'm not the performer. I'm just here to talk. And talking is not about dancing. Talking is about talking. Dancing is about dancing. So what we know about dancing is not the same thing as when we see dancing. And I want to make that very clear. The history of dance can only tell us who's who, when things happen, and give us dates. But the actual history of dance, the dancers carry it. They're the history. And without a good dancer, we have no history. And we just have a lot of information. And we're living in an age of information, right? With all your telephones and your cell phone. So we know a lot of things, but we don't experience very much. And to know something is not the same thing as to experience it. See, I can know, you can tell me your resume, who you are, where you're born, your mother, your father. That tells me nothing about you really. But if I'm with you in a room and watch you, you tell me an awful lot without telling me. You see? So that's why I want to make very clear why I want this empty space. It's a very beautiful empty space. Beautiful because no one has touched it. It's like a beautiful empty sheet of paper. It's very wonderful until we scribble on it. But when it's empty, imagination. Our imagination is everything. Today, we're very concerned about theater. But you know how long it took dancers to empty the stage to get rid of the opera? So they could have an empty stage without just a space to dance? Now today, everyone wants to look at the scenery and, the individual. Winnetka, one of our great writers, said theater needs one emotion, one person, one light, and some empty space. And you have theater. Theater is not the man who slips on the blood that's on the floor. It's the man who slips on the blood that there's no blood there. It's the imagination. So that beautiful empty space, that's what we want to look at. And then we can put our imagination to it. And then when we put a dance in there, then we have the artist. So today I want to talk about artists. Not dance as entertainment, because dance is entertaining, but dance as an art form. Now, how did that happen? When did that happen? Well, of course, we know there was primitive dancing. It was very religious. They didn't dance for amusement. They danced to make rain. They danced to make God, you see. Dance is very important, you see. And then you get your folk dancers. Oh, and there were your farmers who worked all day and, had to plow the fields. So, of course, the folk dancing was very to the earth, you see. And, of course, when they danced, they brought the earth with them. And then you got court dancing, Louis XIV. Oh, that was very elegant. And the costumes were fantastic, you see. And the wigs were fantastic. They couldn't move very much, but they could point their pretty feet, you see. You had to worry about the costume. You see, you couldn't move the garment. You had all these sleeves. So you had to make sure you were always there. The women had both skirts out to here. So that's where the portobello came from. You see? The costume. But then there were people like Navarro who said, let's get rid of the costumes. We're only showing costumes. That was court dancing. I'm presenting my beautiful foot, my little gold buckle. I'm presenting my beautiful glove. You see it in Botticelli, the painting. That's a very elegant hand. But Martha Graham, when she did her first coaster, she said, Martha Graham. Everybody said, wow, after all the Renaissance of this, they used to actually carry a little ball between their fingers. So the hand was a hand that didn't touch anything. They wore gloves. Would you get the coffee? Oh, please take care of the children. Oh, yes, and by the way, you rub the floor. You see, that was the aristocracy. So the hands were decorative, very decorative, very beautiful. So when Martha Graham made big monster, people said, well, what about the human being who slaps, who grabs, who claws? Whoa, that's a different hand completely. So her first person, Martha Graham, Nervy said, oh, ugly. That's a she picked up her skirts. She beat herself, you see. Isn't that wonderful? We have hip-hop dancing today. It's very mechanical. But we live in a very mechanical age. Boom, ba, 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 boom. Now we have the imagination. Let's forget about all that. When you were a child, you dreamed, right? You weren't always happy with everything at home. You thought maybe these could be a little different. Why do I have to do that? Why must I do it? Martha Graham said education destroys genius. And to a degree it does. We're educated to get along with each other, right? We're educated so we all behave properly, so we have to live together. I can see the little children in my neighborhood now, they actually tie them together when they walk into the park. Oh, like little prisoners. I feel so sorry for them. I'd be the little kid who pulls on them. See? They say when you walk, you gotta hold your partner's hand. I don't wanna hold her hand. Oh, you're not being nice. You're not being cooperative. So we're destroying the individual. The individual is someone who stands all apart. Because no matter how well one knows you, they don't really know you, right? Don't you have hate a friend and they say, oh, I know just what you're going to say. No, I'm going to say it a little differently today. You see, that's what we're doing. So that's what I want to talk about. And I'm going to have a little drawing here. You all know this drawing, right? It's Leonardo da Vinci. I have this little sculpture. I used to talk about this drawing a lot. And a very nice dancer of mine, Dr. Nielsen, found this little sculpture of it and gave it to me. I used to have a print of it in my studio that I got when I was in Florence, and my dancers blew it up huge because I talked about it so much, you see. Now, why is this important? Well, first of all, when Da Vinci made this, it was for Vitruvius, and it was to show the perfect proportions of the body. So the body is when it's in a square, it's in 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. But when it's in motion, there's a 5th part. Because when we're dancing, we're this tall. Now, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had a cupola in here? A big dome with all the angels painted up there. The moment you walk in the room, you'd go, whoa. But we have flat ceilings now, so we all look like this. And now we don't even look like this, we look like this. With our little cell phones. And our beautiful eyes, which were meant to say, oh. Because in the Renaissance, the cupola was the imagination. That. So I want you to imagine that there's a cupola. Like a dome. When man moves, he's in that circle. The square is death. The Japanese know that. The circle of life, that's death. When we're in a square, we're very graphic. When we're in motion, see how big I am. And that's why sometimes, some dancers, Anna Sodom was about this tall. Little Martha Graham, she was very little. But on stage, she thought, holy Christ, she looked like a giant. Whoa, where was that? Where was that distance? That's the imagination. See, if I don't look like this, I'm going to get trouble. If I look to where I'm looking, I'm that tall. I'm that tall. So we're going to try to get that. Now, I want you to know that you are what is important. When you talk about dance, you talk about you. You don't want to just know about dance, you want to dance. You want to move. You want to be part of it. You see, when I danced in my basement, I used to do it as a child. But the first time I saw dancers, the ballet roos, I thought, oh, damn it, I'm so late. They already can do it. They have a stage, they have life, and I'm in my basement just stumbling around like an idiot. I want to know, how did they learn that? How did they find out all of that? Well, we have a history of that, you see. So, I'm going to try, I think, when I bring David out, he's going to show you how this movement, when we sat on the floor, why did Mary Big Mom, why did Hosea Malone, why did Logan, why did all those people sit on the floor? Because what you're doing now, where's your gravity? It's connected to your tailbone, not your feet. Your gravity is your hips. David, get him. I want David there. Because when you come out, here's, in this little drawing, you see, if he's in 4 parts, his center is right here, where he's divided. But if he's dancing, his center goes up to his navel. 4 parts. So that's where we get first, second, third, fourth, fifth position. First position here, second position here, third, fourth, fifth, but the fifth is the cupola. David, now this is David Ehrlicher, and he is the one, he is who I am. That's why I'm saying I'm nobody without my dancers. I'm nobody. Don't get too carried away by choreography and all that. We're only like policemen. We direct the traffic. The dancers are the people. And it changes according to the dancers. Pavlova, I'm sure, was much different than Markova, much different than Yolanda. But they were all ballet dancers. But I wish I would have seen Pavlova. I saw Yolanda, I saw Markova, but I never saw Pavlova. So I don't know how great she really was. They tell me she was great, but I don't know, I didn't see it. But I did see Yolanda. I did see Pearl Lang. I did see some beautiful dancers. Those are the ones I remember. Then I never saw Nijinsky. I know about him, but I never saw him. Isn't that sad for me? I missed it. I felt when I got to the grand studio, I got there too late. Martha was already in her 60s. And I thought, oh, damn it. I wish I would have got her when she was really dancing. But I was fortunate because she had fantastic dancers. It was her dancers that I thought, whoa, I just got in that class and I thought, holy, these people are good. To hell with Martha. When she came to know, she's a little old lady like this. And I thought, that's Martha Graham, is it? But Mary Anderson and Pearl Lang and Ethel Winters and some of those dancers, I thought, they were something special. I wanted to be something special. I wanted Martha to know me. I got there too late on that. But I met Anna Sokolow. She was building and made 8 ballets on me. I created those ballets. She directed them, I created them. That's why when we were dancing, he said, the ballet made on you? Yeah, that ballet was made on me. Not just ballet machine. We never used to ask people, are you studying ballet or modern or jazz? We'd say, who are you working with? Who are you working with? And all the different ballet people were very different. All the different modern people were very different. If you're working with Jose, you're working with Mark, you're working with Anna, who are you working with? So you have to respect your teachers. Now, Martha Graham had a very marvelous set designer, but it wasn't sets, it was props, Noguchi. He was a great sculptor. And she had Noguchi come and talk to us. And the first thing he said to us, admire those that influence you. And influence those you love. That's how it passes done. Don't just work with anybody. Try to know your teacher. Try to know if that's someone that you and I can talk to. So David will come out here, and he's going to do floor work for us. Sit, folding up. Lay together, head down. We're born like that. All closed in, all closed up. Only prepared for turned in, we're not turned in. You see. And then he opens his arms, and he opens his legs, and he places his hands behind. And now his gravity is his hip line. You see? The legs are an extension. We didn't grow from our feet up. We grew from here out. So it's very simple to sit on the floor. Because you didn't grow from your feet up, you grew from here out. So he'll do these very simple exercises for us. Now he has a cupola, so he will actually show us that cupola all the time. And arms out, contract. Contract is the back. Now he's giving you an epimole, which means he's shading the shoulders in a different direction. That's your epimole, your upper body's epimole. Now he'll spiral. Hands behind the legs, and he'll press them forward. And now we see that. And now he has his legs, he's parallel. And then he relaxes. Thank you, David. Don't fall over here. You see, these are what we've got. Now the next thing he'll do is to be in second position with the legs. Now again, it's the circle. You see, the legs are extended out. And he's got this tremendous circle around him. There's also a circle on the floor. If you go to Florence, Italy, the beautiful Pitti Palace, you'll see many drawings of a globe with many circles around it. What was Da Vinci thinking? That's the universe. We're always circles. Everything that goes out and comes back. We can learn a lot from Einstein. He said all motion is pushed. You never pull, you push. He said, if you reach and I pull yourself up, you push. I push down to go. I push back to go. That's what makes a wave. You roll a boat, you push. You don't reach. You push. You extend the leg, you push. So he'll show us this in a second. Now he's going to push back and show the cupola. Way up. It's a whole circle. Now he'll face. And now levitate. Now you'll contract. That is, now this, when you train, we do these things many, many, many times, not just once or twice. And why do you do something over and over and over and over again? So make sure you really understand it. The first time you do it, second time, modest say maybe you're after 5,000 jet days, you might get one that's good. Not the first one, not the second one. And even after you get one good one, you think, you know what? It's better. So I've got to do some more. The artist always knows you're never quite complete. Van Gogh was so wonderful. Before he died, he's like, all my paintings are failures. He said, they're not quite what I really wanted. Almost, not quite. Now I'm 90 years old, and I haven't quite made it. And the tragedy is, I got old. That's the tragedy of the dancer. So that's why I need him or you. I make him do what I can't do anymore. And you know what? My young dancers sometimes do it better than I ever did it. I don't tell them that. I steal it. Martha Graham was a great thief. And so was Anastasio, so was David. You see someone with something, take it and then pretend that you created them. But no. You can train a dancer, but you can't make a dancer. They come. So I look for talent. I look for intelligence. I can see it in your eyes. Don't hide your eyes behind your little cell phones and things. Don't look at the videos too much. Don't spend your life looking at screens. I remember a kid, when we got a telephone, it was nice, you picked up, you had a real voice. Number, please. Was it nice? Now you're press 1, press 3, press 4. To get a real voice, you go crazy. You see, you don't go out of your mind to get a real voice in a way. And I see people, young man, a beautiful young girl sitting in Starbucks, and they're both on their machines. And I think, why are they looking at each other? Let's go on a date, and I take my cell phone, you see. Right? Doesn't that bother you? So I'd like to see you, and they're going, oh, just a minute, I got to answer the phone. Oh, that's tragic. You're much more important than the cell phone. You're much more important than all that equipment. It's good to have the information. Don't cheat yourselves. Now you'll do, David, you'll do contractions. Now what we did when we did floor work was we made our contact with the gravity from different points of our body instead of our feet. So the first thing he does when he contracts, he gets his pelvic, you see? And then he goes all the way up, and then he gets it into his tailbone. Now he gets it all onto his left hip. You see? That's where his attendant, you see? So his tail, and then he brings it back, and he'll get all that into his tail and then down. So let's go, and he goes. You see all the different points we can have, taking gravity on all the different points of the body. That's what's important. Now that can go on and on and on. We can explore with that. He would have to do it many, many times if we were a class. It would be the other side. What we're doing is demonstration. So now he'll be up on his knees. Now this is probably what I would say. When people say, what is Cicchetti? I had 3 different teachers. Anthony Tudor, who said he was Cicchetti, Miss Crass, who said she was Cicchetti, and me at Levinsky, who said she was Cicchetti. But they all had a different idea of what Cicchetti was. It's confusing, you see. Now, Miss Crass always said, I'm the only one that can teach Cicchetti. I have a certificate. I used to ask Mr. Ballard, the jury, does she have a certificate? He said, no, I think she does. David found out in the archive she really did have a certificate. She demonstrated all of Cicchetti's exercise. I didn't know that. When I knew Miss Crass, she was a little fat lady, and she'd say, no sway backs, but she had a real sway back. And she'd say, don't look at me, do what I say. You'd see. Then I got to Miss Levinsky, and she said, where did you come from? I've seen you on the stage. I said, I trained with Anthony Tudor. She said, forget everything. Now I'll show you what Cicchetti is. So it took me a long time to learn, what is Cicchetti? Placement. We'll talk about that in a way. That's not the floor work. The bar was Cicchetti. Now we're still doing what Martha did, what Lavin did, what Mary Bigman did, what the floor work. Because that's really where we grew from. We're not standing up yet. So he's on his knees. Now the Graham thing, Martha tips the hip up. You see? Way out. You see? Keeping the hips level. Another level. Now he throws it to one side. Now, in Chicago, to do a fast level, you keep your hips level. But Monica didn't know it did that. She tipped the hip up. So that arc created a whole other thing. What I'm trying to get you to realize is your body, guys, are tools. Now, a painter, he can't paint without painting and brushes. You see, a musician needs his instrument. A sculptor needs his material, clay, wood, whatever. A dancer's material is his body. Your legs, your arms, your eyes, your ears, your entire self is your material. Not something that's photographed. That's why I haven't covered the ears. A dancer never sees himself. The audience sees you. He feels it. It's a kinetic art, not a visual art. It's an art of feeling. That's important. Oh, I know, don't touch anybody, David. Sexual harassment. We were touched all the time. Martha Ray pinched us, pushed us. Eddie Hayes taught with a horsewhip. And he came from Russia. And I said, Eddie, why don't you have, he partnered Pavlova, and when he talked, he had a little horsewhip. And he'd go along the road and pull up and he'd hit you in the butt. Today that would be physical abuse. We called it good training. You see, he'd hit you. Martha would pinch you and remember what you're going on. You see. So I asked Eddie, how come you have a horsewhip? He said, when I was a child. I said, first of all, you have a funny name, Eddie Cape, you're from Russia. He said, I'm not Russian. His father was a horse trainer in Kentucky. And the Tsar brought his father to Russia to train horses. And of course, they had little Eddie, he was only 6 years old. They took him to Russia. So what do you do with a little 6-year-old? They threw him in ballet school. So he said, that's why I got the ballet. You see. So he said, my father taught me horsewhip, so I treat you with a horsewhip. Now I said, the beautiful thing about his father, you can't train him. You can't make a beautiful horse. When the Tsar wanted a horse, they'd go to Arabia and they'd look. The horse is in the wilderness. That way. Now the horse can do everything. It can gallop, it can run, but it can't do it on command. And you train the horse to do what he already knows. You train him to do it when you want it. So a dancer already has the artwork. The dancer, the choreographer, I only train him. I can't create him. He's not very tall, so I have to work with him. Some boys are very tall. Oh, I've seen some beautiful fat people dance magnificently. So it's not about body beautiful, it's about the individual. If you look at your ballerinas or any, very few of them look alike. You know, they're all built very differently. You see. So we don't look for the similarity, we look for this individual significance in the dancer. What is different about this one? What is different about that one? What we do, the moment I say everybody do it like this, I see how different everybody is. If I say everybody do what you want, then you all do the same thing, right? You all do what everyone else because you're. But the moment you know you can't do that, then you find out that there's something about you that is different than that, you see. So don't be afraid of discipline. It's very good. If they say you can't do that, I think, well, I have to question why not. But if they say, well, do whatever you want, what I'm going to do, I'm going to run out and go out with my friends. Now, it's discouraging me a little bit that particularly the girls don't want to be like the boys. We're homogenizing our sexes. It's hard to tell the difference between the girls and the boys. Now, they all dress alike. A marvelous dancer, Janila, she'd say, you boy, you girl. They sure to remember that. We only have two sexes, let's hang on to it. Doesn't matter who you love or who you sleep with, but you are a girl. You are different than a boy. A boy is different than you. That difference is terribly important. I don't want a girl to be like me. I want a girl. My mother was different than my father. Thank God for my mother. She sent me to ballet school. My father said, what the hell are you going to ballet school? I had a mother, she had a whole different point of view than my father. My father said, what are you doing with dancing? My mother said, leave him alone. He can dance. Thank God for my mother. You see? Because the two of them had very different ideas of what little Paulie was supposed to do. And between those two little differences, I found out who I was. Because one let me be this and one let me be that, so I was able to be myself. Now, if my father would say, only do what your father says, I would have been in trouble. She'd say, don't listen to your father. My father would say, don't listen to your mother. Very helpful. Very, very helpful. It is. We were 6 children when I went to school. They said, oh, here's another Sanasardo. What do you mean, another Sanasardo? I was the only boy. How can I be another Sanasardo? I had 4 sisters. I'm not St. Paul Sanasardo. I'm me. I'm different than my sister. We do look alike, but we all thought we were very different than each other. That different man. Okay, now. Now you're going to do this. Stand up. So stand up. And he's going to give us, now parallel is very, 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 very important. Everything's turn out for something else. The Egyptians, some of Martha Graham, some of Mary Graham, some of Lamont's early work is much more classical than ballet. Swan Lake is not classical. Nutcracker is not classical. It's ballet. It's romantic ballet from the 19th century. Even Ballison said, I don't do sporting ballets. I want to do classical dancing. Now, what makes it classical? So Balanchine's Serenade, they start like that, and on the first beat they go boom. He's now jumped several centuries. Right there, you see? And that's how he starts it. So we're back to parallel. So parallel, one says something's classical, it's the Egyptians. It's the Greeks. We must make that clear. We get very, very confused here. Romantic ballet is very beautiful, but it's 19th century. So Martha Graham, she went to the Indian reservations, so did Hunter Home. They went back to primitivism, which was more classical. So he's going to do all this little thing with the tendus. See? Parallel. We have to do both sides, which was a classic impact. Now do the sparkles. It's all parallel. Don't make it parallel. Do not underestimate a valuable parallel. We were not born turned out. We were born really pitch into it almost. So we want to make sure we use all the different aspects of the human body. Everyone gets very confused about it. Now he'll show us a little what we call sparkles. But in ballet, it would be called seesaw, but we won't use the French here. Good. Now we're still. Now we're going to go on with this parallel. We're going to open, second, hold in, okay? All the horn all over, you rump up on, the whole thing. Now we're changing placement from here, but it's still parallel. The whole idea of this is we're sometimes on one leg, sometimes on two legs. That's very important. You only have two. So you have to know are you on one or on two. That takes a little doing. You see, it takes a little doing. So it takes. See, this is the other side. And go in. Right. Use the torso. Hold and lift the hip. Do that. Take the left hip way up. And then take the other hip up. Good. Just shifting your hips. Here we go. Now let's take the hangs. Now this is your epaulement, and your epaulement is your change of your collarbone. The hips are stationary. But because we're freer in the hip than it would be in ballet, you see if you want to petit allegro, we let the hips flow. You see the hips swing back and forth. These are all the things. Now you can explore with this on and on and on and on. With no end to how many variations you can do. But we want to move on. But if it was a class, we would do something many times to make sure we really understand it and to make sure it's really part of myself. You know, why do we repeat like in Bach? Bach is very classical. But most of your classical work is very repetitive. It's symmetrical. Your Parthenon is very symmetrical. And repeat, that's right. Why are we using a drum instead of piano? The early modern dance didn't use the piano, they used the drum. Why the drum? Why did they get rid of the piano? Melody is something else. My heart doesn't have melody. My heart has a pulse. The first thing man did was he started pounding. Then the next thing he did was, so he made a flute. You see? Melody is extending the line. That's Tchaikovsky. Ba, 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 boom, ba, 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 ba. Wasn't that beautiful? Oh, I love it. That's melody. Oh, I love it. I can't think of, the prodigal Nutcracker is one of the most glorious things in the world. I'm not against it, but it's melody. He's showing the line. He extends the line to the ballerina. And Tchaikovsky didn't come first. Ballet came first. The dancers were already trained. And then he wrote the music for them. You see, he only wrote 3 ballets. Nutcracker, Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty. But he changed ballet. Why? Because he brought the folk beat into it. The downbeat. Swan Lake, they have the folk dancing, they have the character dancing, they have it all. You see. So, the drum is the beginning. Now, change the rhythm. But I'm still just strumming. Then when I'm lucky, I might have a cymbal, or a cymbal might boom. You can extend the sound. So a good drummer might have a cymbal. And all the different drums, some are sharper, like this is a bongo. A deeper drum would be a kettle drum, boom. So you want to know your instruments. So that's why they went to the drummer, to start from the basic. Now David would say, get the bar, David. Now jumping a few centuries. And I would say that Cicchetti, if anything, and I don't remember, everything I say is what I say is not the truth. It's just what I say. You see, I don't know the truth. I just know my experiences. This is the way I felt it. This is the way I think about it. You'll have your way of thinking about it. But after all the people with Cicchetti, I realized what Cicchetti mostly talked about was placement. So he had the bar. And when I had a company, I used to be every summer at Saratoga Performing Arts Center. And we were the modern dancers. Balanchine with the ballet, he was there. And Normandy had the Philadelphia Symphony. Of course, the modern dancers, we were like the fourth cousins to the Tsar. We were not that important. The ballet was more important, but we felt very important. But we were the modern dancers. And I heard Balanchine, someone said, Mr. Balanchine, what is ballet? And he said, well, the heart of ballet is the pas de deux. And I thought, oh, he's right, the partner. Because the heart of modern dance is the individual. Balanchine, oh, the part. So boys were just a cavalier. He never thought boys were. The girl was everything. The cavalier presents the ballerina. She's the important thing. So in Balanchine, the boys mostly just jumped and toured. The girls are everything. So I did not have a good time with Balanchine. The boys are important to me. Martha liked boys, so did Aaron. We were sexual to her. But in ballet, boys were proper. They were partners. Not really. You brought a little sexuality to it, and that changed the whole ballet. So Cicchetti is perfect. So then when I got to Mia, she was my third teacher. I only had about 5 teachers my entire life. And I said, Mia, what is Cicchetti? And she said, what do you mean? Why do you think we go to the bar? Because we dance on one leg all the time. The ballerina on one leg almost all the time. She said, that's why. I said, oh, she's right. So the partner is important. Not to lean on them, not to pull on them, but to relate to them. So I'm going to show you this. Now, first position. Why do you have your 5 positions? First, you have first. Then you have second position. Then you have third, the heel in the middle. Then you have fourth. And then you have your third again, and then you have your fifth. See? Those positions are for the changing of the legs. And that's what we pay petit allegro. Because ballet does a lot of changing of the legs. And you can't change the legs if you're first turned in. The moment you turn out, you have that opportunity to go back to the front. You see? Now, Yolanda will call that lacing, tight lacing, like when you lace your shoes. Like when a girl makes a braid. So that made it very important for the legs to be able to do a lot of little tiny work down here, which we didn't do that much in modern dance. We were more concerned with the gravity and with space. But Cicchetti was very concerned about dancing, because he's the one who worked out the 32 fortes, the men's turns. He's Italian, they love tricks. But he also did movement variations. So he worked out what he did. So no matter what you do, you're always standing on one leg. So he'll do this. You're going to do your portfolio, tango front, side, back, then rump on side, and then double pay front, side, back. On one leg, see? And and then, of course, then you have to do the other side, because you have 2 legs. But that's it. So they explored that. So now we're back to turn out. First position. I want the hip almost. Now this is a little bit Paul Sanasardo. I like taking the hip. If you do Cicchetti, you keep the hips level. You see, you don't lift it. But I like lifting the hip. So when you see, you lift the hip. And you go over. 1, 3, back space. explore that business, on and on and on. There's many, many things. But you're always on one leg. Do the ronde-jambs. Now this again would be very tight lacing. Fifth position, lace your legs tightly, because you want to make sure you can always feel that battery. And one, now there's your ronde. That's it. And you can go on and on with that. There's many, many variations. All of them we want to explore on one leg. Now we're going to take the clutches. Now this again is more contemporary in the sense that we're letting the hip go up and down. We're not keeping the hips level. When you do petit allegro, the hips stay absolutely level. But the lifting of the hip creates a whole much more opening. So I like the space in the movement. I like to show the space. When I first went to this class in Mr. Caddy, I walked in and the tutor said, you have to go to this class, she has to clean you up. I haven't got time there for a professional class. So I went to this class and she said, oh yes, you're the young man, Mr. Fella. The tutor said, I have to clean up. She said, well, go to the back. So I went to the back, and after the class, she said, Paul, I've seen you on the stage, and I was already almost 30. She said, I've seen you on the stage. When you walked in, I thought you could do everything, and you could do absolutely nothing right. We have a lot of work. Oh my God. So she really cleared me up. She said, you move too much. I said, Scott, how can I talk moving? You'll find out. She said, you move space too much. One time I was doing one of her phrases, and she said, Paul, stop choreographing in my class. I know you're a choreographer. And I said, Miss Class, I'm not choreographing. Well, what are you doing? I said, I don't know. That's even worse. I thought you knew what you were doing. You don't even know what you're doing. Now you do it, a lot of work. You see, these are wonderful teachers. So, this is Paul. Miss Class would get very upset with me, showing all this space. I love moving good. Now that's when you're using the hip much freer, but don't try to do that for petit allegro, you'll kill it. You have to learn to keep still. That again, you can get rid of the bar. I'm just trying to let you know in the short time we have that there's so much to it. And I want to see if you can realize dance is not entertainment. It can be entertainment, right? But even Fred Astaire was a very good dancer. It was just entertainment. You see, dance was from the ballroom. Dance was folk dancing. When an artist kept dance, then he tried to explore dancing in his personal way, for motion, for movement. That's why he got rid of everything, the opera and everything. He even got rid of music and went to the drum. Mary Bigman, many made dances without music. Delco said dancing is music, she said, because the music changes your dynamics. It makes you, gives you a certain amount of time to do anything. So music is very, very restrictive, but very beautiful. But if you want to have your complete freedom, you don't even have music. Jerry Robbins made a beautiful dance called Moves, No Music. The dance is what, you see. So we have to know what are we showing? As Valentin said, I want them to see the music. Martha's willing to forget that. I want them to see the emotion. Then there was Pina Bausch I worked with. Pina Bausch, I don't want to see movement. I want to know what makes people move. There's a staircase you have to go up it. There's mud on the floor yet. And I said, we work together a lot, and I said, I'm interested in how people move. You're interested in what makes people move. There's a difference. If I have to get something off the shelf, that makes me move. If I have to walk over there to get something, that makes me move. I don't do that. I walk just for walking. I'm not going anywhere. I lift my arm just because I like to lift my arm. It's not reaching. I like to see beyond that wall. I like to think beyond that ceiling. So the reality of things is not all truth. My imagination is also truth. Some of what you feel and think is true. They said Einstein was a creative scientist. Why? He said, there's a lot of things I can tell you. I can't prove it yet, but I know I'm right. So he was a great. Science said, no, you have to have the facts first, then truth on. They're still finding out some of the things he thought was right. Sometimes man's imagination is more truthful than life. Sometimes your instinct, right? Sometimes you meet a friend, give me your hand, and they say, I'm so glad to see you. And when you're leaving, you know they weren't glad to see you. Give me your hand. I'm glad to see you. You think, boy, I really want to see you. The way they take your hand tells you something also. The way they look at you tells you something. And the way they remember you is partly who you are. See, I'm not just who I am. I'm all the things that people think I am. But then I know who I am. But I also part of that. David will tell you a lot of things about me that he knows about me that I don't agree with, but he's probably right. He knows me in his way. His way is truthful for him. And if I want someone to know who I really am, then I have to do it by myself. I can't trust you to tell them about me. Because if you tell somebody about me, you're going to tell them about me the way you think about me, right? That's true. But I may not agree with you. That's when people get in arguments, right? When you say, I'm not really like that, right? So I know just what you like. No, you don't. You know me from your way, but you don't really know me. I want to say all this to you because today we're living in an age where we're taking people. David, thank you. Come out here. We won't do any more with you. You don't have to. We would go across the floor. Well, let's do one or two things across it. The last thing we do in class, my class is designed the way it is. We did the forward. In ballet, they would do the bar, then the center. In modern dance, we do the floor and then the center. And then we took, first you do the movement stationary. Then you do the movement standing up where you can change your placement. And then we try to do the same movements through space. So he'll show you just triplets. Listen. He'll do the same thing, but he'll add 2 sparkles. Triple 2, 3, 2, 3 sparkles. The same movement, only we're going through space. And you're right. Then you'll take, now I call this planting. You're going to take the same triplet, but you're going to emphasize the earth instead of the sky. So do the planting. I think of Malay the painter. That's another thing. Don't think you can learn only from dance. Most dancers are pretty stupid. Learn from painters, learn from poets, learn from literature. Don't only learn from each other. Look, see. Don't trust what you hear. Trust what you experience. So go to museums, see art, look at art. Get your different painters, see which ones you like, see which ones you think are wonderful. Read. Don't only listen to television. Read. Find out what are people thinking. We learn from all kinds of, and then we learn from life, right? I'm learning a lot from you right now. This little one I like. So she goes, I would be very worried about what she thinks about me. She's got opinions. I say, be careful of that one. Moth rating. When they say, don't look at the queen, don't look at the king, you're supposed to stop. But if you look at them, Martha Graham used to also back out of the room. She was going to say, don't look. She said, don't. When I partnered with her leg, she said, don't look in my eyes, look at my forehead. Don't look in my eyes. That bothers me. So, when you read it, she really looks. You really look at something, oh, it's scary. Children do that. Dogs do that. Animals do that. I sit in the park, people walk by with their cell phone, they don't even notice me. Well, of course, I'm an old man. But not the dogs. Not the little kids. Dog look by you. Little kids look by you. See, this is it. Their parents are by, they're busy. I know. But when you're little, you really look, right? Your mother would say, don't look at me like that. Have you ever had that said to you? Don't look at me like that. What am I doing? I'm just looking at you. No, don't look at me. That's scary. Okay. But now he's going to take what I call planting. Malay, like Van Gogh. They're emphasizing the peasant, the working man. That's the whole part of that period, the turn of the century. Because industrialization was coming about, so they were worried that industrialization took us away from the earth. 90% of the population was farmers. And then they put it in the factory. Oh, how terrible. Now they're taking you away from your own thoughts, right? You can look on the computer, it tells you what to think. Have your own thoughts. Don't trust what they say. Have your own thoughts. Because if information age is taking us away, now it's interfering on our minds. Don't plug yourself in too much. Make sure your ears are open and hearing. See, I don't like putting things in, but I feel like it's in my head. I'd rather hear the noise out there. Right? Okay. So they do what I call a peasant. And it's tripling with more peasant. Go. That's great. And it's just the same thing in ballet when you just stay on your little toes. You see. But when you don't have those damn point shoes, oh, you can really move. Those point shoes, oh, they kill movement. Oh, it's terrible, those point shoes. I'm so glad that boy I get that word point shoes. Because they already took the shoes off altogether, just be careful. So we want to be careful. Sometimes the paraphernalia, you see. The tutus are a very rough thing. But if you lift your hip and show your panties, you have to keep your hips level. Because that little tutu was like, so Martha, get rid of the tutu. Why bother? I can move my hips. So you want to, now the clothes you wear, right? We all look like we're going hunting. Okay. The whole world looks like they're going on a hike. Have some nice clothes that fit. Why are we suffering obesity? Because the clothes are so big and we finally fill them out. Jenai made the little girl for corsets. Oh, that's coming up. Those poor girls are hardly move. But it kept them very proper. Oh, let's do bias in jumps. These are again, this is just a jeté, only it's a round back and bent legs. So we're showing again the peasant, because the peasant, here in India, where they carry the child, right here, on their back, right? They fed the child, they can plant the food, they can feed the child, they can plant the husband when he comes home late. They kept their hands free, the baby was here, 6 feet big. So it's on their back. Now today everybody wears backpacks. So they all look like they're going hunting. Be careful. This is aristocratic. Put your lavalier right here, show your chest. Oh, Lamont was magnificent. He'd say, plateau, plateau. I thought, oh boy. I also, God looked like Jose Agüero in the ground. He was so noble. And when he did the Moorish Pavane, he said, it's not about jealousy. It's about pride. You cheated on me, a king? How dare you? Almost a king. Martha was the devil. Medea killed her husband with cheeks. Fighting, thrown on the floor. So she didn't do things for nothing. She was already a Medea. She was already that. So now the divide. We're peasants. I like them. Go ahead. What? That's so animalistic. Buffaloes do it. Learn a lot from animals. If you have a cat, oh, they put you to shame. It moves so beautifully. I hated my cat. It did everything so naturally. Now, a damn little cat. It was just on the clothes, the most perfect little clothes ever. And it just totally unrelaxed. It could jump. I thought, well, I'm a stupid one. Animals are much smarter than we are. We have this. If they have this, they use their senses. A deer, any animal hears better than we do, sees better than we do. That's why biology say don't think. Thinking can destroy your senses. Smell, feel, hear. Okay, David, back out. We got to applaud David. I'm going to say finish. I want to let you know. See that, young man? To me, without him, my work is over with. Because of him, I can still keep working. Because of you, dance may continue. Without you, it won't continue. The books won't continue it. The records won't continue. If there's not children dancing, training is over with. Don't train just to perform. Performance isn't that important. Although we think it is, right? We all want to be looked at. There was a musical called The Little Lion Dancing. We don't want that. Dance to God. Whoever he is, I don't know, to dance to God. The Spanish said that. Don't dance to. Martha said, don't dance to God. Put 1 million person out there and dance to that person. I don't know what 100 people think. I don't even know what 10 people think. So I put 1 intelligent. That's why we created God. We would hope that was someone watching that really understood. I don't know if there is, but I hope there will be. I'm not sure. Unlike the Spanish, there is something beyond me, something beyond you, something greater than you. Dance to that holy, empty space. Like I said when I was a kid, I had a wonderful basement, and they loved me. The public, oh my God, I love them. But I put those bright people, they watched everything I did. Oh man, it took me an hour and they watched it. Today they tell me, take too long, can't do it. That holy space, that empty space, is for you. For you to fill that empty space. And you're very fortunate children. It's a very beautiful school. It's very well taken care of. None of you have to worry about where you're going to get your next breakfast, right? None of you have to worry about where you're going to get your next hot dog. So what are you going to do with your life? I'm going to create art. See, the little person who's worrying about just getting the next meal, they haven't got time for art. They're so busy just trying to get that next meal, right? So it's those of us who don't have to worry about that so much. So you're different than the children who don't have opportunities, right? Because some children don't have that opportunity. Some are so busy just trying to get the next meal, just trying. So it's in places like this where art can go. The Tsar liked ballet. I don't know if the public liked ballet, but he liked ballet, and he supported it. Now everybody wanted to be in the palace with the Tsar, so they liked it, but I don't know if they all liked it. He liked it. And Yolanda wrote a very wonderful book, The Great Ballerina. After the Bolshevik Revolution, communism came in. They closed the Mariinsky Theater. And here were these poor dancers. The Tsar had 450 dancers who was training, supporting them. They didn't have to worry about making money. They took care of them. Wouldn't be nice to take care of them. So they just trained. Tchaikovsky wrote music for them, session. Students both came. They were not thinking, there were people on the street who never had been in the Mariinsky Theater. The people on the street wouldn't be for the public. They didn't know what it was. It was made for the Tsar, because he liked it. And he made all the other people like it. Because wherever the queen is, see, wherever the president, everybody wants to be in that same room with the president. A great king, Ludwig, supported Wagner. And Wagner built him a theater. And he would have performances, but in one performance he would not let anybody come. It was just for him alone. He kept the theater empty and went to see the opera. And they said, why are you doing that? He said, because when the audience, they all come to look at me, I'm the king. And I want them to look at the Wagner. So I would keep the audience out. So he would just go to a performance all by himself. Isn't that wonderful? So he said, they all come, they all look at the king. Okay.
I'm just wondering if you want to give up at time.
I don't know if you have any questions. I'm not too good at that. I don't like when people ask me, how much do you eat? How does a dancer live? I'm just as sloppy as you are. I have all the bad habits that you have. I have to control myself. When I did dance, yes, I'm Italian. Oh, I love to eat. So I had to watch out for it. My nature is there. I love excess. You see, I love people like you where I am. Because I get too many in my life and I get confused. So I have to kind of watch out for that. My greatest danger was myself, my nature. But I have all the weaknesses that everybody else had. And I'm like George Bernard Shaw, I say, why don't you write? They did write books about me, but I don't know what that's about. I don't read my own books. Because I have all the weaknesses. You know, I have all the sloppy habits that you have. I don't want to tell everybody about them. I try to hide them. I try to control them. Because I know we're all human. We're very human. It's not simple. I'm not a Protestant. So I don't believe in our sins. You know, we can indulge, but be careful when you indulge. See, I don't like to shake your finger and say, that's not right. I don't know what's right. I don't know what's wrong. You decide that for yourself. You decide that I shouldn't do that because I want to be different. And the last thing I'll say to you, there are two of you. Not just one of you. What one of you do you want to be? The one that you are, or the one that you train to be? That other self is what we call the super ego. You always have another self that's watching you, right? That says, you're eating too much. You ought to do something with your hair. That other self is the self that makes us create. The self that we are is like every other human being. It has all the weaknesses, all of it. And then there's a self that says, maybe I can change life. Maybe I can make a difference. Maybe I could do something. That's why we need that empty space. There's too much clutter there. And Socrates would say, you can do something with 3 movements. Too many movements, you can't do anything. Limit yourself. Don't be afraid to be limited. Because you're capable of doing everything, right? You could run around crazy. car, he said, maybe I'm wasting my life. Whoa, that's the cardiac career. And I said, hey, what the hell are you doing with yourself? You all ask yourself that. Well, ask yourself, does any of it make any sense? Does anything I'm doing really matter? That's a good question. You probably will never answer it, but don't stop asking it. I'm very, very fortunate to be here with you. You give me an opportunity to still do the things I love to do. I love dancing. I love talking about it. I love dreaming about it. I hate the fact that I'm too old and I can't do it. There's nothing great about being old all the time. Here it's, oh boy, you're so lucky you made it. Ha ha ha. I love my youth. This is the best time of your life. Don't waste it. George Bernard Shaw said, youth is wasted on the young. We will get older. But know that you're living right now the best time of your life. Right now. And that's kind of scary. But if you think it's the best time of my life, I better not waste it. I better make sure I'm thinking and living. Love things. Don't be afraid to love things. Love is important. Love life. Love your friends if they're beautiful. And if they don't love you, that's their fault. They're missing out. But don't be afraid to love. You may not be loved back, that's okay. But it's important to love. It's important to love life, it's important to love things, it's important to love dreams, and it's important to love your youth. So I know you probably have a lot of questions, but I'm just what I am. I'm a 90-year-old man sitting here with a lot of memories, and fortunately I have beautiful memories. And you help me remember them. Isn't that wonderful? You're beautiful people, you have a beautiful room, you have beautiful facilities. There's a choreo studio. Well, when I was young, you would wish for this, you see. You're very fortunate, so I think you're very lucky. And I depend on you people to make a difference. I can't depend on the poor little children who are starving in Africa. We have to just help them. As George wants to, don't talk about our to the poor. Give them toilets and coffee. You see. So we should take advantage of the fact when we're not poor. When we have the opportunity to dream, to want life to be better, to want life to be different. That's perfectly wonderful. And when I look around, there's so many different nationalities here. Isn't that wonderful? Each one of you has a different background. I have my Orientals right there. I have my you all have a story. Each one of you has a complete story. Your story is what you want to leave the world, right? Of course. You want to leave the world. You want them to know that you work here, right? I wasn't just a student at New Trier. I was who I am. You're not like all the other kids. You're different. Right? So that's all I can say. Thank you very much for you being here. Do you have questions? Good. Because I don't know, when you ask a question, I know what to say. Well, I'm just like you. I'm just as bad as you are. I didn't do anything special. I wasn't special. I just took advantage of my opportunities. I took advantage of the fact that I was young. And boy, was I lucky to have my mother. You know, as a kid, I took voice lessons. Can you believe it? With this lousy voice. And I had a wonderful voice teacher, Miss Callis. And when I tried to take voice lessons, she said, why do you want to sing? You've got a dreadful voice. She said, but I'll train you because you're theatrical. She said, you belong in the theater, but don't think you're going to be an opera singer. You're dreadful. She taught me a lot about projecting my voice. I can speak way out and say anything, thank God. But it's a lousy voice. You see. But you do a lot with a lousy voice. So you do. And sometimes your faults are your assets. The things that you don't like about yourself, sometimes are the very things that make you who you are. Right? That's what I think. Thank you again.
Thank you.